Let me talk to ya! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest wrestling YouTube channel of all time. The greatest wrestling YouTube channel of all time, and it's only in its infancy. With this video, we will be going and discussing the matches of WWE 2023's Crown Jewel and see if it lives up to the hype. Is it worth the watch? And to quote L.A. Knight, yeah. So if you all are ready, let's get into it. Alright, so the way how WWE decided to start this show was with the World Heavyweight Championship, and they ended with another world title match. So, seeing WWE start this pay-per-view with the World Heavyweight Championship, it took me back to around 2010 to 2011-ish when they would actually have the world title start the show, and it made me wonder, okay, are they already losing interest in the world title? Are we eventually going to lose it? But with Seth Rollins behind the helm and this great drive that he has to just want to make the belt mean something on every episode of Monday Night Raw, him being like, I want to defend this belt, who's going to come and challenge me, I want a fight. And we got him and Drew McIntyre. And they had really good chemistry in this match, especially on Drew McIntyre's end. Because as we all know, he won the WWE Championship during the time of the pandemic era when there was no fans. And McIntyre even acknowledges that. He's like, I won the title at a time when nobody was around and nobody wants to remember. So he is desperate. He wants that championship. He wants to do it in front of a crowd and get the acknowledgement he deserves. This was a great match. There were definitely some hard-hitting moments, especially with McIntyre giving Rollins a sick sidewalk slam on the apron, targeting Rollins' back. That's why they had such good chemistry. And we had a couple times where it looked like Rollins was going to walk away with the win like early in the match, but you always had McIntyre either just tossing him like a rag doll, or he was able to quickly hit a Claymore, and you're like, oh man, that's it. He got him. And then it was 1, 2, Rollins kicked out. And I'm just going to say, every single time I see Rollins go to the top rope and do his flip stuff and landing on his ankles, or whenever he does his flip power bomb and I see him just touch the ring mat, I always am afraid we're going to see like his ankle like twist in a way it's not supposed to. I love watching Seth Rollins wrestle, and especially I love what him and McIntyre were able to do, with Rollins just barely able to escape with a quick stomp for the 1, 2, 3. And after the match was over, I'm wondering, okay, what's going to happen now? Is McIntyre going to turn heel and join Judgment Day and just everybody just comes out and just attacks Rollins? No. Instead, WWE decided to pull a fast one on us and have Mr. Senior Money in the Bank come down and cash in. I'm like, oh, this is it, this is it. And you can see in Seth Rollins' eyes, he's like, I knew this time would come. I knew it. Oh, I'm not ready. You can see that look on his face. He's just like, man, all right, let's get it over with. And as he's handing the briefcase to the ref, he's like, I am cashing in. He gets attacked. He gets slammed into the ring post, and I'm like, okay, who is this? And I was like, is it someone from Judgment Day? Is it that one guy he just cannot stand that Balor's friends with? Or is it Rhea Ripley, who has somewhat claimed leadership of the Judgment Day, even though they say there's no leaders in this group? No, it was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was the one to attack Priest and run like there's no tomorrow with the briefcase. So that'll continue, and Rollins just had this look on his face like, okay, so I'm still champion. Rollins gets to go another day as world champion. This match was really good. I really enjoyed the chemistry. I love watching McIntyre wrestle. He has really grown, and I hope that we get to see him one day retain or get a second chance at being either World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Champion. I give this match 3.5 crown jewels out of 5. Let's go to the next one. Alright, so the second match on this card is 2 out of 5 championship matches, and it is for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, a fatal 5-way, which I actually kind of think is weird. But anyways, we have the participants, which are Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, who is actually kind of the MVP of this match, Zoe Starks, Raquel Rodriguez, and the champion herself, Rhea Ripley. And some of the entrances in this match were kind of rushed. As Nia Jax was walking to the ring, they had already started music for Shayna Baszler. But I don't know if that's just because they used to be tag team partners and maybe they were just like, well, let's just run those two together. But Rhea Ripley got an awesome entrance. She had like these guys just walk out, and then her music went off, and it was just great. I love this character of Rhea Ripley. I like Rhea Ripley in general. But so with this match, I will say the MVP of it was Shayna Baszler. I really wish that they had just not unstrapped that rocket to her like they had a couple years ago, where they were treating her like a legit threat and no one could really stop her. They had her having 3 women in a submission at the same time. They had her pretty much dominating a lot of the people. She powerbombed a tower of women off the top rope. And I was actually thinking, okay, if there is anyone in this match that could defeat Rhea Ripley, I would be okay if it was Shayna Baszler. As soon as the match started, Nia Jax is like, well, I know how this is going to go. I'm just going to leave. So she just crawls out of the ring and just lets everybody else take a swing at each other. And, you know, she comes in every now and then and does her thing. Every woman in this match really gets a time to be in the spotlight, from Shayna Baszler doing her submission thing, Raquel Rodriguez with her strength, Zoe Starks with her tenacity, Shayna Baszler with all her submission moves and everything. She was a legit, I was like, okay, I would be totally fine if they just gave her the belt. Please give Shayna Baszler the belt, WWE. Please do it. But Rhea Ripley with a super riptide from the top, getting the 1, 2, 3. This match wasn't bad. And I'm not going to talk bad about Nia Jax, but they did do a tease where she was going to drop from the top rope like she usually does, and it got interrupted with Zoe Starks actually jumping off the top rope and doing her thing. It was a really fun match. I'm glad that women's wrestling is being taken more seriously, and I really hope that Nia Jax gets better, and I really want her to succeed in WWE, because she was in at WrestleMania one time for the Women's Championship, and all I remember when Alexa Bliss fought her, I'm just like, she's gonna die. Yeah, she's gonna die. But this match, I would give 3 crown jewels out of 5. A good second match. It didn't take too long. It was there when it needed to be, and it ended when it needed to. So let's get to the next one. Alright, so we're getting a break from the title matches, and this is the only non-title match on this whole entire card. That between Solo Sikoa, this day's version of the Samoan Bulldozer, and John Cena, who I am pretty sure is trying to start his own career of being a spokesman for any seafood fast food restaurant in the world because of his colors. I cannot take the light blue and orange seriously. We know his colors from the John Deere to the Grape Soda Purple to the Fruity Pebbles Red, to now him just looking like a spokesman for Long John Silver's. But anyways, this match being a total squash with John Cena doing everything he can just to keep up with Solo Sikoa, with Solo Sikoa showing how just unpredictable he is, from him being like just his unsettling calmness where he's just like, to him just being a complete monster and literally bulldozing over John Cena, with him giving many tributes to Umaga, with him throwing Cena in the corner and just running and just hitting him with full force many, many times, to him just eventually just hitting him with the Samoan spike over and over and over. It was a sad sight to see, but it is clear that Solo is going to have a bright future here in the WWE, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Even though that this match was not as much of a shock of a squash match as it was between him and Brock Lesnar, I would give this match 3 crown jewels out of 5. Solo Sikoa has a bright future, and the whole entire point of this match was just he had orders from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns telling Cena, Solo's going to just destroy the ever-loving crap out of you. I don't care if he pins you. I don't care how long it takes. You're just going to get destroyed. And that is exactly what Solo Sikoa did. He demolished John Cena. Cena would get the upper hand every now and then, but Solo would just bounce back harder and faster to where Cena just couldn't go anymore. Being literally limp and just Solo just hitting him with the spike over and over and over. it was a sight and something sad to kind of see. But with that, 3 crown jewels out of 5. Let's go into the next match on the card, and which actually ended up being my favorite, Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. Alright, so like I said earlier, it's time for me to talk about my favorite match on this whole entire card. And it is not the match of the main event, but instead it is the match for the United States Championship. Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. And Logan Paul gets a awesome entrance. He gets in like this awesome car, or I don't know what you would call it. But he drives from the desert to the city to the arena. And it really dawned on me. I was like, holy crap. A year ago, he was in Saudi Arabia again, challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And Michael Cole even brings this up. And he says that last year, he was challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. But then he says this is his first attempt at trying to get gold. And I'm like, Michael Cole, you just contradicted yourself. This is not the first time he's challenging for the gold. But yeah, it just dawned on me that this is Logan Paul's second time in Saudi Arabia and for a championship. Alright, so the dynamic in this match is very fun. I had so much fun with this match, can you tell? But the dynamic with this match is the fact that Paul is using his height and his weight against Rey, even doing something as so heelish as just to go tapping him on his head. He decides, you know what, I'm just going to keep Rey Mysterio grounded the entire match because I know how he works. And because of that, Rey has to resort to using submission moves on Logan Paul just to stay ahead, and it makes for a very good dynamic. We have some very good back and forth between this match. With Rey being grounded, Paul is actually able to hit some high-flying moves of his own. Eventually, Rey finds a way to do some of his own as well. And I'm just going to say, I am so impressed with how good Logan Paul is in the ring. He's gotten so much better. I was impressed with how good he was when he first debuted. It's insane. And the fact of the matter is that he has a better buckshot lariat than Hangman Adam Page. Sorry, dude, but Logan Paul just does it better. He hits his own version of the buckshot lariat, but because his knee is injured, he's not able to hit Rey with the full strength, which allows him to only get a 2 count. Alright, so this next part of this match really freaked me out. Rey went for this moonsault, and Paul almost didn't catch him. If Paul hadn't have caught him, I think something seriously would have happened that would have hurt Rey. But luckily, Paul caught him and almost tombstoned him. But after this, Paul hits a beautiful moonsault fall-away slam that he turned into a pin with only a 2 count, which in all honesty, I would have been perfectly fine if that's at the end of the match because that moonsault was just dang beautiful. But while this is going on, Paul notices one of his lackeys is sneaking up to the ring, passes him a pair of brass knuckles. Somehow they get knocked away onto the floor, and while one of his cronies is trying to get it, one of the members of the LWO grabs it, chases the guy off, but for some reason decides to put the brass knucks on the apron of the ring. While Logan Paul is in the position to get 619, he's able to grab them. As Rey is getting ready to jump on him, Logan with the one shot gets the 1, 2, 3, and steals the United States Championship. Logan Paul has won his very first ever championship in the WWE. And I'm okay with it. I am okay with this being how Logan Paul got his first championship. This was a beautiful match. It was the funnest match on the card. No shame to anyone else, but this match had my attention all the way, other than the main event. I give this match 4 crown jewels out of 5, and I'm wondering if because of this little fiasco with the brass knuckles is what's going to lead to an interesting division between the LWO. Maybe will Rey be like, hey, you know what, it's okay, mistakes happen, and then more mistakes will happen, and then we'll get a match between these two. Or maybe will the LWO guy turn on Rey Mysterio? And then we have an epic rivalry for the next couple of months. Who knows? But now it is time for the next one. Remember, I give this one 4 crown jewels out of 5. Alright, back to things as usual. Another championship match, this time between Io Sky and Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, I know Io Sky is eccentric. you know, like where she's being like from Japan and everything. But when I first seen her walking down the entrance, she looked like she had one too many drinks before the match. And I'm just like, is she okay? Or are they just gonna, you know, reschedule this? But no, she was actually fine. One thing I will say, I've noticed that this is a different version of Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair was out for months and now she finally has a shot to get her title back. And you can tell this is an angry version of Bianca Belair. We are usually so used to seeing her calm, cool, and collected and in control. But this time, she's angry and she wants revenge, and all she wants to do is hurt the champion. The question is, though, is that what is ultimately her downfall? We don't know, but we can tell this is something different. This is not the usual Bianca Belair that we are used to seeing. And with Bianca being so angry, Io is able to capitalize on her rage and injures her leg and actually works on that leg a little bit, even putting her in the Tree of Woe and just going to town on that leg. But every time she knocks Bianca down, Bianca just gets back up again and again, and it's worse every single time. Bianca, like I said, is angry and even hitting a very sick German suplex on the women's champion. I had heard that Bayley actually got taken out by Bianca on the SmackDown before the Saudi Arabia show, but we do see Bayley return for her usual shenanigans. Alright, with Bayley here, and I actually didn't think Bayley was going to show up because where the announcers, you know, announced that she was taken out by Bianca the SmackDown before this. She's here to cause a distraction, but Belair, so filled with rage and wanting her championship back, she's desperate. She's able to overcome the team of Damage Control until they get a new member, possibly former Io Sky's tag team partner from Japan. The Pirate Princess Kairi Sane has returned, and her and Io Sky are able to double team Bianca Belair to where Io Sky retains the championship. I am excited to see what's going to happen with these two. This was a very fun match, and like I said, I enjoyed the whole thing with Bianca being so angry that she's, you know, like just not caring and just trying to just hurt and destroy the champion. I liked seeing that, but I was wondering if that rage was going to be what cost her, and luckily it didn't. But I am really interested to see what is going to happen in the story with Damage Control. Are they going to just invite Kairi Sane to be a part of it, or do Io Sky and Kairi Sane have other plans? Will they reform their tag team? What does the Pirate Princess have up her sleeve? We will see. And now I must correct myself because I had forgotten about a match on this card, and it's the only other match that is not for a championship, that being between Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest. So let's continue with that. Alright, so it is time for the second non-title match on this card, that between the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and Mr. Senior Money in the Bank Damian Priest, which he ironically does not have the briefcase with him at this very moment. I wonder why that is. Anywho, but after Priest has entered the ring, we get that amazing entrance by Cody, and he's just trash-talking Priest the whole way down. Oh, Priest ain't even waiting. Like, they just start fighting each other before they even get in the ring. And these two, you can see the hatred in their eyes. They're just going at each other like wild animals. And this match kind of has like a very quick pace to it. You know, you think, well, maybe they'll just like, you know, attack each other until someone gets disqualified or something like that. But that's actually not how it works, believe it or not. Cody does get his leg injured. Priest, being the captivating heel that he is, works that to his advantage and actually gets the match in his favor for quite a while. We actually finally get some work towards the non-English announce table. It's always the Spanish or the French or the other announce table. Barely is it ever the English announce table. But anyways, I digress. Eventually we get to where he gives respect to Razor Ramon, hey Chico, with his attempt at a Razor's Edge, but Cody's able to get away from it, and this is where Judgment Day comes in. We get Judgment Day shenanigans, but it is interfered with. Monday Night Jey Uso himself chases away Judgment Day, with Damian Priest trying to go for his own version of Crossroads. Cody reverses it, but it's not enough for the 2 count. Eventually we get a high-flying Cody cutter, and not one, not two, but 3 Crossroads, which is enough to put Mr. Senior Money in the Bank away for the 1, 2, 3. I had a lot of fun with this match. It was a very good cool down. They had great chemistry with each other. I really want to see these guys fight inside like Hell in a Cell or something, because you can tell there's just beef between maybe just these two or just all of Judgment Day. I'm thinking that we're going to get these guys at War Games, maybe Team Cody versus Judgment Day or something. Please, WWE, put these guys against each other in War Games. It would be fun. Like I said, 4 crown jewels out of 5, and now we get to the be-all, end-all. Roman Reigns versus L.A. Knight. Yeah! All right. Here it is. The be-all, end-all. Mr. L.A. Knight going against the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the longest reigning Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. As much as I want L.A. Knight to be the one who would walk away as the victor, I kind of figured that this was not going to happen because of we all know Cody's going to be the one who walks away, but I would not be apprehensive to having LA Knight either being the one who wins a Royal Rumble or shoot, give him Money in the Bank next year. I think it would really benefit him. And the way I like how they really work this is you have Booker T commenting on how explosive LA Knight is in this match. He doesn't even let Roman Reigns breathe for a second. That is something normal for somebody who has never been in the main event before, especially in a championship match. I really like this. This was a really good way to tell the story about how this is LA Knight's first time in the main event against Roman Reigns, or even in a main championship match. The explosiveness, that's normal. And we see like the fans, like they are for LA Knight. They are behind him, and you can see it working in Roman's head. That was a really good tactic with this match. Will that be enough to give Reigns what he needs to get defeated? Will that give LA Knight the upper hand? And it does. We see that LA Knight's just refusing to let Roman breathe. Even when Roman is talking with Paul Heyman, LA Knight's like, that ain't happening, yeah, and charges and just disrupts their conversation, not letting the champion get even a single breath of fresh air. Alright, so Roman can't let LA Knight have all the fun. He's got to get some control back in this match, and he is eventually able to ground LA Knight for a while, but he starts getting mad because the fans just will not stop. They will not shut up. And you can see on Roman's face, he's not having enough of it. He starts beating LA Knight down, but Knight is able to get a comeback, and he's able to dodge a Superman punch, but he gets hit with a Superman punch, but he kicks out of 2, and he even hits Roman with a Superman punch of his own, but it only gives him the 2 count along with his elbow. Now, this I thought was very interesting. We see Solo actually trying to come down to the ring, and security's blocking him off. And while that's happening, we see Jey Uso actually trying to interfere, but LA Knight doesn't let that happen, and he actually takes it to Roman Reigns' cousin. And this was a very interesting dynamic. You had Roman actually getting upset that LA Knight was attacking his cousin, and LA Knight is actually able to take it to both Roman and Jimmy Uso, but eventually that is too overwhelming. Roman hits LA Knight with a spear through the barricade, throws LA Knight into the ring. A spear for the 1, 2, 3. And there was a time like when I thought maybe we were going to get the same old defeat where Roman catches LA Knight in a chokehold. These matches with Roman, even though they are kind of the same, are very tense because we want to see him lose that belt, and WWE knows that. And so it just seemed like, okay, are they actually going to give it to LA Knight? Is someone else going to dethrone Roman? Is Cody actually not going to be the one? What's going to happen? Are plans going to change? That is sadly not the case, but just because LA Knight lost, that does not mean that he did not establish himself as a main eventer. He did a great job. This was a good match. It was a good way to establish this is where LA Knight belongs. And even though the reign is still going, we all know his days are numbered. I had a great time with this match. I give this one a 4 out of 5 crown jewels. I really enjoyed this show. It's one of the best, I would say, Saudi Arabia shows that I've seen in a long time. I've always felt like the shows that they have in Saudi Arabia are kind of like, we got 2 timelines, right? The ones in the regular pay-per-views, that's the main timeline. But the Saudi Arabia shows, I feel like, are just something different. Like, it's stories that don't really even matter, or it's just stuff thrown together, just, hey, we gotta have matches to fill up the card. But this was about the stories, and I liked that. I have sometimes enjoyed the Saudi Arabia shows, but I really enjoyed this one. I give this one 4 crown jewels out of 5. Yeah! Go and watch this pay-per-view. You are not going to be disappointed. Guys, if you want to see more content like this, please do not forget to share and subscribe with this channel, Talk Inside the Ring. And don't forget to drop that like button and spear the subscribe button for the 1, 2, 3. And I'll see you next time as we chat once again in the ring. Have a good night, guys, and I'll see you when the bell rings.